Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
That didn't sound very bushy. It sounded flat.
How old of a beer did they give us?
I don't know. I'm drinking deer beer. That's got to be. Contrary to what you guys think, Deere did not quit making the Busch Light Deer can. It's just, you just don't get it anymore.
You just don't get it. All right, listeners, we've got a show here for you. This is going to be maybe a little off the beaten path.
Not really.
You don't think so? You think we're going to
It's
be
a fun show.
Oh, yeah.
Fun shows go anywhere.
Is this going to rock?
It's going to rock. Every fun show rocks.
It can't. It's country.
Ooh, are you sure?
It's going to roll.
It's going to roll? Let's see if we can get some fun introduction here.
Some royalty free, please. All right. Maybe. No, it's coming. Here we go. Today on the Farm for Fun show, you know that saying, it ain't my first rodeo. Well, today is that day. It is my first rodeo today because it's my first time talking to rodeo royalty.
Ooh.
She is a belt-buckle sporting, calf roping, and ag supporting Miss Rodeo of Iowa. Please welcome from Northwest Iowa, Miss Micah Barnes.
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
That was awesome.
Not quite rodeo masterpiece, but you might be able to give some of those rodeo announcers a run for their money.
I should have. Got to get down in here. Come on, boy. Yep. All right. How's it going, Micah?
Oh, it's going great. We're gearing up for the Miss Rodeo America pageant, so can't complain yet.
Miss Rodeo America. We're going to get to that, but first we got to figure out how you became Miss Rodeo Iowa.
Yes.
So let's dive right in.
I actually ran in August for that, last August.
It's like a race?
Basically, it felt like a race. It was a very long 2 days.
A campaign.
Oh, that's right. That's funny. So let's first jump back to your childhood. Northwest Iowa, obviously we've got a little connection between families in the past, but what did your childhood look like?
I grew up rodeoing, but also playing sports. I like to thank my mom for that because we were not going to be those weird horse kids, which really helped me out getting into college. Throughout high school, I did every single sport you could probably think of, going to a little bitty school. That's what you do for fun. And then I decided to take my athletic and academic career to Buena Vista University, where I played basketball, I studied biology, and eventually I started the BV college rodeo team.
You started the rodeo team.
Yeah, it started out just me, myself, and I being an independent rodeo. So we rodeo in the Great Plains region, which is a section of NYRA, the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association. So it's like the NCAA, but rodeo edition.
And you were the only one on the team.
I was. It actually
team?
started, it was my second year when I asked if I could sell T-shirts for funding because it gets very expensive.
Yeah.
Is that considered a team if it's just one?
It was
is it
just
an
me, and then
individual
my
sport?
senior year, my sister came, and we were the first two, so they considered us a team.
There is
They
the
were
IM
stoked.
team.
There is an IM team.
It's just in the a-hole.
Well, you can't team rope without two, though.
So are you saying that rodeo's not a sport?
It's not what you, when people think of sports, they like to think your basketball, your football, your baseball, but rodeo is the first, we call it the first sport, even though it's not sanctioned by the NCAA. It's sanctioned by NYRA.
Okay, so now you and your sister were a team.
Mm-hmm.
When your sister left BV, was there still a rodeo team?
Yes, we started recruiting some outsiders, is what we call them. So I was part of the assistant coaching staff. My dad was the head coach, and we had students coming from Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa to be on the team.
So
Last year was the very first year BV hosted their first college rodeo, and we had a men's and a women's team, which was pretty cool.
did you
Wow.
were you BV rodeo queen before you were Miss Iowa rodeo?
No, BV does not have a rodeo queen. We'll put that in the works for next year, maybe.
There you go.
I mean, you guys might
She
not know
would have
this.
won.
Yes, she would have, because there's I in team. I am Miss BV Rodeo. Yeah. So my wife was ISU Rodeo Queen.
Oh, no kidding.
Very cool.
That's why I asked.
Stampede.
Yep.
That's pretty
Why
cool.
doesn't she wear a crown?
She's got one.
Why didn't she
Why
wear
doesn't she wear it?
It's on her hat. You guys haven't seen her in a hat.
Well, we got to fix this.
Yep.
Okay, so you went from being a team player to being a team coach.
Yep. And this was all during COVID. And so COVID kind of stopped the rodeo my senior year. And I was thinking about going into med school because I wanted to be a doctor and make money. But instead, I decided to go spend my money and go to school to get my master's at San Luis Obispo, California, at California Polytechnic State University.
Whoa, that's a mouthful.
What?
Yeah, it was a lot going on during COVID.
So was that virtual? Were you able to stay in Iowa, or did you go to California?
I went to school out there in person because I was actually a member of their college rodeo team, and then that's where I first got my first assistant coaching job.
Okay.
Wow. So, did you win? Were you good at it?
It's hard. I want to be humble. I was pretty okay. I was definitely not the best. During COVID, because California was pretty much shut down, we got 3 rodeos. And so I caught at all 3 rodeos, but it wasn't, you had to place first, second, or third at those 3 rodeos to then go on to the college national finals, which I was placing 4th or 5th at every rodeo, but I wasn't winning a first or second or a third. So.
Did you win slack?
We don't get plaques, we get buckles.
No, not
we
plaques.
We get buckles and saddles and money, which is really nice.
I was wondering if you rode slack after the rodeo.
What is that, Dave?
I did. So slack in the rodeo business is basically you can't have all 130 people per event in the rodeo going at the same time because you would be there for hours. So the slack there is you get 10 people basically for the first performance, then your 120 extra you put in the slack, which is either right after the rodeo into the early mornings or early morning before performance.
It's the after rodeo.
If I bought,
it's the after. It's the rodeo nobody likes to watch because it's not as fun.
if I bought a ticket to the rodeo, could I stay and watch the rodeo after the rodeo?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
That's when all the cowboy dancing happens. You know.
Exactly. That's when things get a little more wild because it's not as kosher.
I like this. I should just go to the after rodeo.
You should.
There you go.
Okay, so now
we get to stay there when we rope until 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a lot of fun.
Jeez.
It goes late, and if they have lots of people, it's a late party of rodeo.
All right, so if you were out in California and you're on that team and you got another assistant coaching job, where do you go after that?
I graduated with my master's in 1 year. I didn't understand that in a master's program you take 9 credits a quarter, and I took 24 my first quarter.
Holy smokes.
I finished that. I graduated with my master's in 2021, I believe it was. And then I came back to Iowa, and that's when I first started coaching the remainder of the BV team, that's when we first got our men's program going, our women's program. And my dad kind of was the kickoff of that.
Wow. She did her master's in 1 year.
That's crazy.
On accident.
Whoops.
Yeah, on accident.
Hey, I got done with college in 3.5 years.
On purpose?
Kinda.
Yeah, she was like, oh, this isn't so bad. Let's do 2 masters.
It wasn't.
That's cool. So now you're coaching?
This year I kind of took a step back because I travel so much. We aren't necessarily, we're not allowed, but it's more smiled upon to not have a full-time job. That way you're not missing so much work and you're not having to leave work or leave being a rodeo queen. So I was more of a volunteer position this year. And then I also have my subbing endorsement, so I was substitute teaching when I was home.
Nice. So you became Miss Rodeo Iowa. It was a multi-day race. Had to lobby and go through this process. What do you receive besides a crown?
We get a buckle, which is basically our trophy, because our crown we have to give back every year. We got money towards our own saddle that we got to customize. We got a lot of fun little niche like gifts and earrings and jewelry and kind of a lot of advice on what a rodeo queen should be. And then what's really cool about being a rodeo representative is you get a lot of scholarship money. So at the end of this year, I'll get around $2,500 from the Miss Rodeo Iowa board. And then I go out to compete at Miss Rodeo America, where I can be in the running for about $20,000 worth of scholarships, which is really pretty nice.
You're saying scholarships, but you've already got your master's.
I still got bills to pay, though. And I want to go back and get my doctorate, so that would really be helpful.
Whoa.
Dr. Rodeo.
Dr. Miss
Dr.
Rodeo.
Rodeo.
Dr. Barnes.
Doctor.
Yep.
Dr. Barnes.
Doctor.
I really just want to be called Dr. Barnes. It's more of being a little petty is what it is, honestly.
I love it. Hey, we will label the episode Miss Rodeo Iowa, Dr. Barnes.
Future Dr. Barnes.
Future Dr. Barnes.
That's great. I love this, but let's circle back to the other part of your childhood, and that's the rodeo side, because whether it makes it into the show or not, the first question Dave asked you is about your dad.
Yes. My dad is Marty Barnes, and he is the second generation stock contractor owner of Barnes PRCA Rodeo, which my grandpa started in 1950.
Wow. So what does that mean?
Basically, for fun, we are like the circus, but make it Western. We go around and we put on rodeos all around the United States. We bring the livestock that you see competing in the rough stock events. So your bucking horses, your bulls, your roping calves, your roping steers, and then your steer wrestling steers. And we are also bringing all of the panels, the portable chutes, everything like that. So everything you see at a rodeo, normally at a Barnes rodeos, we bring into it. The contestants that are roping those calves or they're running barrels, they will bring their own horses, but the rough stock, they have to draw out horses and we supply those.
So is this where your connection comes in, Tanner?
This is where my connection comes in.
You wrangled up the wild horses, or what'd you do?
No, my connection is we lived only 15, 20 miles apart, and the Broncos every other year would come run on our corn stalks.
That's their
That's
winter
all they
home.
do is just run the whole time?
Just run and eat. Absolutely.
Some people go to Arizona for their winter home. Our horses go to Winterhoff's.
Yes.
That's good.
Ours go to Winterhoff.
Poor horses.
And it is fascinating because, right, you see these horses buck in an arena.
Yep.
You see them and their athleticism, and they are held in by one hot wire.
They're trained. So my connection is we sold Circle C Rodeo, and her father came and bought the stock that was there. So bought the stock. So we contracted the contractor, if you will.
Yeah.
And we got him to load all the cattle up, and it was a good relationship. But it was interesting to see how they class. What's good? What is a good bucking bull? This one's okay. That was for the college kids, but it's really not NFR style, And so there's ratings of how high they go.
So these were bucking broncs?
Bucking broncs, yes.
Did you ever try to get on one?
No.
Why not?
I couldn't get that close to them.
They're docile. They're not domesticated.
Okay. What makes a good, how do you have to train them to be good bucking broncs?
Just going to give them a good name. Like mean as nails, that's going to be a good one.
Mean as nails?
You got to give them a good name.
I have never thought of nail being mean.
Tough as nails.
It's 100%. It's in their blood. You can't make a bucking horse or a bucking bull buck. Contrary to what people believe with our flank straps, that's a hot topic nowadays, is we rig those flank straps to hurt those animals to make them buck. But you can't make anything buck. You have to think of it the same way as their athletes, because they are. If we don't have them competing to their highest ability, we don't get paid, we don't get to put on rodeos, we lose our livelihood. So if they're not doing it because they want to, you can't force them. It's like some people are born to be dancers, some people are born to be magicians, some people are born to be athletes. Same with those horses. Some horses are born to be runners, some horses are born to be buckers, some horses are born to be cattle bred. It's very genetic, and a lot of how you raise them is just letting them be that wild horse.
So if one is like a weirdo and he has got the bloodline but doesn't buck or doesn't buck good, what's their outcome? They just go right to the glue factory or or what?
Some will go to a smaller rodeo company that will need them. What's special about our place is that we put on rodeos from junior high through the professional level. we have horses that fit junior high kids, horses that fit high school rodeo kids, college kids, and then your small time professional rodeos all the way up to your national finals rodeo, which is the Super Bowl of rodeo. And some horses, it's kind of funny. We'll get horses that are supposed to be riding horses, and they come to us and they end up being bucking horses. Or, there's a lot of stories about old bucking horses who they bucked for a couple of years and they decide, it's not for us, and they're now pickup horses. And they love their job. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different things that bucking horses can go into besides strictly, as you would say, the glue factory in it. And the funny thing is, we had the bucking horse of the year 1977. Her name was Crystal Springs, and her offspring were not great bucking horses. But the offspring from them, like her grandkids, were great. So sometimes they just become brood mares.
It's like farmers, they skip a good generation.
I was going to say, or it's like a hairline. It might skip from grandpa to grandson.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. I had no idea. Now, that takes persistence because I would have given up. If grandma didn't make bucking horses, I think I'd have stopped breeding them and said, oh, well, crap. I guess this was one and done. To stick with it to get the grandkids, I'm being facetious. To get the grandkids.
That's our rodeo people. We're a little crazy. We're always looking for that diamond in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what was the name of that horse in 77?
Crystal Springs.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Isn't that a water?
It's a lake in
refreshing.
Fargo, North
you
Dakota.
guys
Yes.
copyright that name?
The most refreshing water.
So you rodeoed. Every horse girl is crazy, and every horse girl that I know has a crazy color they like.
If you could ever make a blanket statement, that's probably the most true one.
Or sorrel, or what's your favorite color horse?
To me, it doesn't matter so much color. My dad kind of instilled this upon me, so I'm going to blame him. I like the horses that have a little bit of wild in their eyes. I don't like the nice, calm, dead-headed ones because to me, those are no fun. I like one that's a little bit of a challenge, but when they have that much heart and they want to do their job, you can see it in their eyes, and that's kind of the horses I lean towards.
Watch out for the ears pinned back, tell you what.
A little wild in their eyes.
A little wild in her eyes is one thing.
I don't know why, and I feel foolish for even asking the question, but they have bucking bulls. We know that it's a bull. I didn't realize that bucking horses aren't all male. Mm-hmm. Do you know that?
So Crystal Springs, she was actually a mare, so she was, like I said, she was a mom. But we've had great studs, but a majority you're going to see are geldings because geldings are just a lot easier to keep.
Okay.
Did you know that? No, I didn't know because I just always figured a bucking bronc was a male, just because of the bull thing, probably.
Right.
Well, good for them being gender equality.
So, for our listeners that don't do rodeo, let's talk about all the different things you can do in rodeo. So we've heard bull riding, we've heard bronc riding. What else you got?
You got bareback riding, which is basically, to me, it's the craziest event because you're asking young man or man in general rather to stick his hand into a suitcase handle, and that's all he gets for 8 seconds on some of the rankest horses. Could not do that. Could never be me. Too much, no. But we also have our timed events. So you'll have your steer wrestling, your team roping, which are both headers and hazers coming out of one box, and your heelers and steer wrestlers coming out of the other. You have calf roping. You have, in southern states, you'll have steer roping, which is like calf roping, but you rope steers. And then the ladies, we have our barrel racing, and new is our breakaway roping.
Oh, can chasers.
The can chasers. Uh-huh. What about tie down? You got, okay.
That's in your calf roping. You can either call it calf roping or tie down, just like steer wrestling is sometimes called bulldozing.
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
So you said the new is breakaway.
Yes. It's the fastest sport in rodeo, so you'll have runs that some runs are 1.7 seconds long, so you blink and you miss it.
What are they doing? Just running from one end to the other?
Waiting to break the Honda.
Yes, very close to that. It's how you would kind of say it's the female version of calf roping. The WPRA, which is the Women's Professional Rodeo Association, does have calf roping, but it's not in the PRCA rodeos. But you have breakaway, which is a female event. You rope the same as a calf roper, but as soon as your rope comes tight, instead of getting off your horse and going and tying the calf, your rope, which is held onto your horn by a piece of fishing wire, basically, breaks off. And that's when your time will stop.
I've seen that. I didn't know that's what it was called.
So why don't the gals jump off the horse and tie 3 legs, tie the cattle? I always wondered why did they come up with breakaway, or why didn't they just do calf roping?
I think from a production side, it's because it's a lot faster. You'll have 1 second, 2 second, 3 second runs instead of 10-second runs. So it helps if you're adding in another female event. It helps the rodeo go a lot faster without really costing you a whole lot of time.
Gotcha. So you're a roper. You can swing counterclockwise. Can you swing clockwise as well? Can you reverse swing like the guy at the NFR did last year? He went one.
I'm not very good at hula handing.
There you go.
I can try it, but I am not as cool as Mr. Ryan to be able to do it in such a high.
Did you guys see that?
Performance area.
It's all over my feed on Facebook.
What are your specialties in the rodeo? What do you like to do?
In college, I was a goat tire, breakaway roper, a team roper. I ran a little bit of barrels, and then I flanked the bucking stock, and then I did a little bit of hazing in the steer wrestling as well.
You knew she ran barrels because she scowled at Tanner when he said can chaser.
Yeah. Hold on.
There it is. There's the smile.
You
You mean the one that says, make sure to ask her if she's a can chaser?
He put me up to it.
I want to know who was sitting by you and what you had to tell them to be quiet for, because they were wanting.
It was my mom. She wants to talk.
Oh, do it! Yes. Put Mom on.
What do you got to say?
No. She just thought it was funny because my sister's a barrel racer, and so we kind of are pitted against each other. I'm the breakaway roper. She's the barrel racer. She's got the nicer horses. I got more of an attitude.
Since my wife was a roper, she said there was a rift between the buckle bunny /
That's funny.
can chasers and the ropers, the real cowgirls.
Something like that.
Something like that.
See, we're all sitting here learning right alongside. I do. Every once in a while, I'll pull up YouTube and we'll just be watching rodeo clips on the TV, and my wife will walk out and she'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm watching entertaining content."
Yeah, exactly.
I'm working. That's what you got to say.
And one of my favorite podcast listeners are not surprised is Rump Chat. I mean, I just...
Of course, it's Rump Chat. I'm not surprised.
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
Yes. But
you need to go out to Vegas and see his show during the NFR. It is funny.
So they invited us. We got to interview them in August, and it was right in the middle of being all busy for them. But I think we've got an open invitation. We just need to take them up on it.
So explain to me this. So if you guys have never been to the NFR, it is like a fashion show now. It never used to be, but it is now. How did that change, and why did it change? I mean, it's like sexy little black dresses and cowboy hats now.
I think it has a lot to do with just those kind of fashion. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, not the personnel, but the
companies themselves.
Influencers.
Oh, influencers going to those events because they want to be cool and go to the NFR, and then they dress up.
Exactly. And that's what's great about rodeo is we don't just we let everybody come. We don't care where you come from, what's your background.
Yeah, hell, you let
If
Dave
you want to
in.
be a roper or not. That's kind of the beauty about it. We're welcome to all walks of life. And that's kind of what you're kind of seeing now is you have a lot of Hollywood shows being made. So you have Yellowstone, you have people finding out what Lonesome Dove is and starting to appreciate the Western lifestyle, but also trying to be a part of it. And if they don't grow up in it, sometimes they feel this is how they can connect to it, is by setting these influential wardrobes, basically.
Have you guys ever seen?
But yes, it is definitely one of the highlights for girls I know in the industry is seeing what those famous influencers are going to wear.
Have you ever seen Return to Snowy River?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the man from Snowy River.
The man from Snowy River. Yeah.
All right. Well, we always like to play a game with our guests in the middle, and I think I picked one that's not going to be too difficult for you to play. We're going to play a word association game. So you can say one or two words or a thought. We're going to tell you a word.
Okay.
You say the first thing that comes to your mind. It doesn't have to be boom right away, but it usually makes it more fun if it is. As we go through this. And once we finish the game, I want to get into your process for Miss Rodeo America.
Awesome.
Ready for your first word?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm getting ready. Yes, sir, I'm ready.
You don't want me to say the first word?
Go for it.
Family.
That's not the first word.
You cheated.
Rodeo.
Okay, that was easy. See, we lobbed up the easy one. Dave, what word are you going to choose?
I was going to choose slant.
Hairline. That was so bad.
I figured she'd say 4-horse slant like a trailer, but
where did this come from?
I don't know.
Is it your hairline?
I was thinking of a mane, and when I was in California, I went to this English stable, and they had cut their hair in this weird slant. And when you said slant, I didn't even think of trailer. All I thought was the English hairstyle of their horses.
As long as you weren't talking about your mom.
No.
Yes.
All right, I'll do it because you guys are.
You can't say that.
The one word that we get asked to edit out.
They're not a sponsor anymore. That's fine.
You were like Pat McAfee and saying.
Oh, well, there we go.
Shoot. Add that one up.
All right, here we go. Broke back.
Bareback.
There we go.
Oh, see?
I was good. I would have said mountain.
Clean.
I would have said mountain.
You would have said mountain. No. Luck.
Bad.
What? Okay, expand upon this. Why do you have bad luck?
This is how I see it. I have been doing so good all year. I haven't had any bad luck. And now leading up to America, I've had a string of bad luck. I went to pick up a friend from the airport. And that morning, my sister's dog bit me in the face, cut my lip open right before my send-off. That afternoon, I went to pick my friend up from the airport, and my car broke down on the side of the road going 80 miles an hour. And then my backup car just broke down again. I was like, okay, I'm glad we're getting all the bad luck out of the way before America.
There you go. Next, Dave.
Tradition.
Family.
Ocean.
Did you guys catch that?
Pacific.
Hank Williams Jr. reference there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. The Pacific Ocean. That's what she chose.
That's
Pacific.
the pilot joke when you're flying over the Pacific. To be more specific, here's the Pacific.
All right, last one, then we'll get back into it. Favorite drink?
Water. And that's not even a lie.
Agua.
Us too.
Northern Chill. They're one of our sponsors, so I'm going to give them a little highlight right there.
Oh,
Well,
really?
they've sent us some water before.
Yeah, have them send some more.
Absolutely.
They are good water. They haven't ever come and let us drive the ATV out of a shipping dock or do that like all the influencers.
Yeah, no snowmobile trips.
Yeah.
Well, you should go up. They let anybody come up to they call it their ranch. You can see where their water is made, and they have this really cool guest house up there. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Nice. So is the sponsors through you as Rodeo or you as Miss Rodeo Iowa?
We have sponsors that I brought in for Miss Rodeo Iowa, but then we are also under the umbrella of the sponsors of Miss Rodeo America.
Okay.
Which includes your Greeley hats, your Justin boots, Wrangler jeans, Northern Chill water,
Nice.
Montana Silversmith, that kind of stuff.
Send bills to all those people.
Yes. Cha-ching. I like that. Okay, so Miss Rodeo America, what does that look like? When is it? Where do you go? Tell us.
I will leave next Tuesday to drive out to Las Vegas, Nevada. Our whole pageant is held in the South Point, which is really nice because we don't have to go from one place to another. But it is 8 days of pageant with no contact basically with the outside world. So when we check in at 7 a.m. Sunday, December 3rd, we don't have our phones, we don't have computers, and they move us into a room with a fellow state queen. And there's 31 of us this year, so one oddball out. However, it'll be what it's going to be. And from there, they chaperone us around everywhere. So we don't talk to our family. We don't really, we don't get newspapers, the news, that kind of stuff. But to be in contact with people, they send us either roses with notes or they can email us. But for 8 days, we are being judged by 4 different individuals. We don't know who those judges will be until that day. And we don't know who we are rooming with at America until that first day. And then... Wait.
What if you get put with Miss Rodeo Nebraska?
I'm actually very close to Miss Rodeo Nebraska. She still has to learn that Iowa has better corn. She refuses to acknowledge that.
That poor thing.
I've got all the other rodeo queens to agree with me.
That's good. All right, keep going.
But we start out with a written exam, which is kind of, when people hear that, they're like, oh, so you have to study. And yes, we do a lot of studying throughout our year. We have to know everything from current events, political answers, equine anatomy and physiology, PRCA rules, American Quarter Horse Association rules and people. And basically, the judges have free reign to ask us anything they'd like to ask us. So we take our written test first. We take some pictures for our photogenic portion of our pageant. And then we move in. And that night we start practicing for our fashion show. Which you might think, why are you practicing for a fashion show? We do 2 numbers. We have an opening number, a dance for the fashion show. And then we have a dance during our coronation, but I'll get to that. Tuesday, we start bright and early with horsemanship, which is kind of the talent portion of our pageant. This year, they have changed kind of the horses being brought. In previous years, it's been stock contractor horses. And this year, it is
that'd be
a
cheating
QHA
for you.
section. Oh, that's what some girls think, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's a random draw. There's 3 patterns that they could potentially have us do. And then that morning they'll tell us we want you to do either pageant, or they want you to do horsemanship number 1, pattern 2, pattern 3. And we have a random draw. So we don't know what horse we're going to get on until we get down there. We haven't ridden these horses before. We go out, we do our pattern, and then we'll do a second pattern, which is a freestyle run. So they tell us we need you to stop your horse, back your horse up, do a hot lap, which is your presentation run, and change direction. We don't care when you do it, how you do it, but you have to do all of it within a minute and a half.
Oh.
So it's not just you. Your horse, you can get whatever you drew in the deal. So you're kind of relying on something else, and there's probably better draws than some others that are good. But if you're super good, is it like drawing the most ranked bull in a rodeo? Like, if you're good enough to ride him, then you're going to get more points. So if you're good enough to ride the crappy horse and do a flying lead change, you're probably good.
Absolutely. And that's it's up to the judges' discrimination. So they'll be, do we want more of a showy person, or do we want somebody who may not have had the prettiest ride, but she made her horse do what was asked of her? And that's kind of where you have to watch the horses. So if you know your horse doesn't take a flying lead change, or you know somebody who is riding it may not be as strong of a rider, you can say, okay, do I try and do this flying lead change, or do I know the horse and do I do a simple lead change instead?
Gotcha.
And that's kind of just knowing your judges at that point, what they're looking for, because, again, it's all about, can you follow those guidelines of what's set forth in that pattern?
So I'm guessing the judges are past champions.
So it ranges. Last year, there was a previous Miss Rodeo America, Strand Smith, who was a roper. There was an AQHA representative, and then a board member from a Miss Rodeo something. So whether that be a state or Miss Rodeo America.
We got to get farm for profit on that.
So you kind of have a broad range of.
Didn't you say that you don't know who your judge is?
We do not. Those were last year's judges.
I was just like, in my auctioneering contest, it's oftentimes it's not just Joe Blow. They got to know something about auctioneering. In her case, they have to know something about what a flying lead change is to understand what they're competing for.
What is a flying lead change?
Yes.
I'll let her answer that for you.
So when your horse is in, we call it the left lead, they're going in the circle to a left. Their left leg will be out first. So when they're their left lead will be leading.
Okay.
A flying lead change is when you're trying to make that figure 8, and you're going from a left lead to kind of in the air, switching to have your right foot forward. So being a horse, when all of your power is kind of in your back end, it's a little bit tricky for some horses unless they know it and they've done it before. And it's also up to the rider to give them those right cues, because you can't push a horse left and then expect it to pick up that right lead when they aren't comfortable doing it.
Huh. Interesting.
Can't say I know how to do it, but my wife talks about it all the time.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
So are you a good dancer?
I was in dance for 1 year in high school, my senior year.
Did you guys go to the same high school?
No.
He went to Aurelia. I went to Alta Aurelia.
Oh.
I shut the place down. They had to merge.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same high school.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah, we were in the same building, not at the same time. What were you? You were between my sisters, right?
No, Gracie was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay.
So,
Man, that makes Gracie seem old.
so
makes me
if
older.
when you started your Miss Rodeo Iowa campaign, did that if you won, did you automatically have to go for the whole shebang?
So if you win, you have to still pay your entry fee to get into Miss Rodeo America, but my board covered that for me. There are some states where they require you to send a representative. So in my case, if I'm Miss Rodeo Iowa, then yes, I'm going to Miss Rodeo America. The only way that wouldn't happen is if I broke the rules and I was no longer Miss Rodeo Iowa, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wasn't there a Miss
Every
Rodeo?
state will send a representative. This year we have 31, which is more than in previous years, which has been really cool to see rodeo growing in different states.
Yeah, I wondered where Miss Rodeo Washington, D.C. came from, if there is one.
We don't have a Washington, D.C., but we do have a Washington.
Yeah.
This year we have, I think it's North Carolina. We have a New York. We have an Alaska. And hopefully we get to meet our Hawaii when we get there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wait, speaking of cool, wasn't there a Miss Rodeo with the last name Cool, Kool?
Yeah. Yeah, Jenna Cool. She was Miss Rodeo Iowa, I believe, 2018.
Nice. So, I find it interesting. It's like Miss America. You also have to do a photo shoot.
Yeah, we have different outfits throughout those 8 days. We have our personality interview, our horsemanship interview. The horsemanship, like I talked about, we have a cowgirl kickoff where Wrangler sent every girl a vest this year, and you have to personalize it and your whole outfit to your state. We have a Bags for Bucks, which is every girl will bring in a bag full of things about her state to be auctioned off.
Oh,
Who's the auctioneer?
Fashion show. What was that?
Who's the auctioneer?
I have no idea.
Not
That's
David.
a great question.
You should nominate
Guy could
Dave.
get a job out of this deal.
there you go.
Well, something fun about my bag is it holds tickets to the, I think it's 2025 Auctioneer World Championships, which is going to be held in Dunlap.
Yeah.
Are you going to that, Dave?
I'm sponsored by Dunlap. They're the World Livestock Auctioneer Championship. You got to have a sponsor into there. Will
you go.
Epperly was the previous world
This
champion.
whole
John
thing,
Shaven.
this whole 8 days that you're doing this, is this being recorded or anything like that?
There is pictures that's put up every day. The fashion show and coronation is live streamed on the Wrangler Network online.
And what day is
And
that?
Horseman, I should know this. I know this. I don't know why I just had that little fit there. Sunday the 10th is our coronation. And at this point, all the judging is done. This is where they tell you who's top 10, who's top 5. Top 5 will then go backstage and each have to answer an impromptu question.
Ooh, yeah.
And this is where you hear who won personality, who won horsemanship, appearance, scrapbook, and all those different scholarships that are there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then fashion show is that Friday.
I'm just
So
sitting here.
your episode comes out on the 7th.
Perfect, right in the middle of it.
So I'm going to put the prediction out today as we record this that we are talking with the next Miss Rodeo America.
Oh, my.
She might not
Yeah.
win the scrapbooking side of things.
Yeah, cheapers. We may not win scrapbooking, but
Yeah.
if I won America, that'd be pretty cool. Iowa has never had a Miss Rodeo America before, so it'd be pretty awesome to bring that Landstrom's crown back to the good old Hawkeye State.
What?
Cyclone
I know,
State.
I'm a Cyclone fan, but we are labeled the Hawkeye State.
No, you should set that. It's going to start with you at Miss Rodeo America. They're going to be like, "What's the nickname for your state?" And you'd be like, "It's the Cyclone."
We're going to
State."
feed this into the impromptu question when she makes the top 5. It's going to be, all right, what is Iowa known as? And it better be. Yeah.
I just want to know how a network hasn't picked up on this because it sounds like if you're disconnected from the world, how do they not